but you probably could have whittled down the opponents a little bit more for then Ting to come in and have a better job or an easier job at trying to clean that up.
MONORI BACON now on the red side. They opted for that one, obviously. ST still on the blue side. So they have first ban and first pick. Potential for the L'Oreal to be prioritized.
Very true, but L'Oreal, ST
Okay,
weren't running L'Oreal, so they just want to give it to that anyway.
Yeah.
They don't have a habit of running it themselves.
Okay, fantastic. So, MONORI BACON will ban away that Ryoma as well. Now it's either Zenial or Violet that gets banned away from ST. See what MONORI BACON do in response.
Well, Zenial's been banned, it's been left open, no one's picked it up yet.
Yeah, maybe prioritizing that Violet instead.
Yeah. I think that Violet would be first pick worthy for ST. I don't think they're giving up on Violet. I think that Howlin on the Violet again can work. They just need to, like you said, I agree with your point about putting Slims into a lane rather than allowing him to jungle. It creates some difficulty in terms of giving him all the resources he needs and his ability to catch people out with the stun.
A new ban coming through. Zephys, not really banned out before.
Zephys was one of these picks that was helping facilitate the early game roams that were going around. You saw Lover get caught out with a Zephys goon squad very early in the game a couple of times, and Ting in the mid lane suffered from it as well, as you saw in the highlights. So taking away one of the core members of their roaming death squad might be a good option and could provide dividends for ST.
So let's take a think about what they're going to be banning on the MONORI BACON side. It's actually the Zuka. They first picked it twice. They really thought that it was a very, very strong pick, but then what does that leave open for ST? It's the Zill.
Yeah, powerful AP mage. The Zuka ban intrigues me. I don't know. I don't think ST would want to take it. I mean, maybe there's a potential Lover could play it for an aspect of a late game split push composition. So they might want to deny Lover from the first pick. But they've left the Violet open, which tells me that MONORI BACON can pick away the Violet here if they really value it themselves. But of course, they've been the ones banning it in the first two games. So I don't think they wanted to even risk going for it.
Lubu very strong from them the previous game, put onto Cherie. So they are hovering that one. I imagine that's getting locked in. I think they're debating here whether or not to lock in Violet or potentially something like that Ormar or maybe even a Nakaroth, sorry.
Haven't seen any play on Nakaroth in this series. Doesn't mean it's not going to be picked up by these guys.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, I didn't see them going on the first pick for the Slims. This does open up Violet for ST if they want to put that on Howlin again.
I don't see why they wouldn't. I mean, it makes so much sense. Like, it's such a strong pick. I mean, it didn't work out too well.
Yeah.
The fact that Slims isn't with them and the fact that they're going to put that Violet in the mid lane is very strong. I mean, Slims doesn't really play into their play style too well. They are strong on it, but it's just not really in their repertoire at the moment.
Completely agree with that sentiment there.
And the Scud and Violet getting locked in.
First time for today, Scud. So Scud's going to help with that crowd control situation. He's going to be able to jump in. He's going to be able to spin and disperse enemies, separate them a little bit more, and allow Violet to kind of pick off the stragglers when it gets going. Zill as well, he's going to be able to hopefully jump in there, get his AoE procs before Scud goes in with the dispersal. Because if Scud disperses before a full combo has gone down, you're not going to be able to spread that Zill damage around. It's going to be isolated to a couple of members where you could get it on a few more and pop that passive. So how they coordinate in the team fight, going to be very important for ST to make sure they're being the most efficient they can with the tools available to them.
I just realised we might see Scott on Scud, which is relatively humorous. I mean, for those that aren't aware, the translation from the Chinese of how you write Scud goes to Scott on Google.
Yeah, it's very literal through Google Translate. I mean, they could run Scott and they could still run Arduin. So you know, if they're going to run Arduin, they're going to give it to Scott
Potentially. And give that Scott over to Ting. But Chautna and Airy going to be locked in for MONORI BACON.
Okay, so Ting not going to be on the Airy, but we know sometimes Ting can fall back onto that Joker.
Oh.
Interesting pick. So if they actually lock these two in, they are doubling down on just basically saying it is all on Zhanyo and Lover to win this match for us, and they've locked it in.
Potentially, yes, but what we saw last time was Ting was putting so much pressure in those side lanes, and actually in the previous series for Game TV versus Team CL, you know, that pressure in the side lanes is really what won them that final game. They were able to keep those waves pushed in, so leaving Zenial in those side lanes and pushing in, that could be very strong.
The slight variation with this is Zenial's put into the off role, into the split push role because of his mobility around the map. Yes, the side lane pressure is important, and yes, that is the playstyle you run with Zenial, but he lacks the damage output to burst through the towers as quickly as something like the Aerie could in the previous game.
Or the Ryoma.
Or the Ryoma as well. So yes, Ting being able to go onto a split push role is facilitated by the Zenial. Their win condition won't be split push because he won't be able to do it fast enough. They just have to rely on pressure. The only time that will work is if there is a genuine mistake by MONORI BACON leaving the lane unattended.
Thane will get locked in as well, so the tanky front line engage or disengage should they choose to take it. So,
who's jumping on the Violet? Who is getting on the Violet? It's
interesting.
It's Aerie. Aerie's the only one who could potentially do it. I mean, Thane can go aggressive and try and initiate with his charge into an AoE knockup, and Lubu could potentially get a good flank off and hit with the third strike. But there's not a consistent way or a consistent assassin threat to get onto Violet on the back line.
I mean, barring, the long-range spear from Slims, but, those are, 1 in 100 kind of thing.
They've also got to, I'm hoping that ST are coordinated enough that it has to actually travel through Malok, through Scud, through Zenial before it can even get to thinking about Zhanyo. Because I'm hoping that the positioning is going to be better from Zhanyo than it was on Huaolin. And the kind of state of mind that I can deal this damage maybe a fraction of a second later as long as I get myself safe so I can continue dealing the damage.
Yeah.
And I think Zhanyo could bring that level of positioning and level of awareness to where he needs to be that Huaolin just simply did not have, and he could maintain it in this game a lot longer. But here we go. Final match, final game of this quarterfinal.
It is going to be MONORI BACON and ST1 all so far in the series. Seems to be a running theme. 1-1 returned.
I want to see
all of today's quarterfinals.
I want to see the trend break in our fourth quarterfinal.
Yeah, I think SMG. If any team can do it, it's SMG. But we'll have to wait and see. This game needs to be gone through first, and ST will take on MONORI BACON. This time ST on the blue side, MONORI BACON on the red.
Scott just being a ward for that invade from both angles, just making sure that no one's coming in to invade that might buff and take it away from Violet.
ST have just never really gone for these aggressive early invades. It's something that they have just not really done. I mean, you can see Scud is just sort of poking out his nose and trying to see if anyone's over by the Sage Golem on the side of MONORI BACON, and that's a pretty late invade coming out from MONORI BACON over towards the bottom side of the map. And Zhanyo and Scott, they're just going to sit there and wait for whatever's coming for them.
I like that they put Zenial and Malok in the same lane because they're both going to jump at the same time. They're going to roam down together and they can be late. So they can apply that 2v1 pressure in the lane and still get to the fight in time.
As well as that Abyssal Dragon. I mean, they can stay in that top lane and just, when they're like, oh, Abyssal Dragon, let's go. And then just both of them just arrive in the fight.
Exactly, and we identified that the damage was going to be an issue with the split push, but if there's two of them in the lane, that more than makes up for it.
We're going to try and engage onto the lane, though, and with two of those tanks, I don't think it's going to be super successful. Aerie does have to get up in your face to try and go for it, but Slims is here to get that range in the back line as well, and Lover is already taking the brunt of the damage. The sap up coming through, the shield is procced as well, and Ting's just going to body block from any more spears from Slims.
Not only that, but, who's better to take down tanks than Slims? That was one of the things they were lacking in that engagement that they wanted to, and him coming up there is really going to help them push that down. So you saw Scud, and...
Same thing.
Yeah, Scott and Scud, he is on Scott. It's going to throw me off every time that I'm knowing that translation. But Scott and Violet, they rotated up to the mid lane, put some pressure on there and rotated back. They had time with the wave still coming out and there was no one in the lane to contest or push against them. Now comes the posture around the Abyssal Dragon.
So you can see Malok had to move down a lot further than Zenial. Zenial can stick in that top lane, gather that XP and hit that level 4, which will give him that mobility because they haven't started up on the Abyssal just yet. And MONORI BACON have got a little bit of an advantage, but ST can roam in, and I think they're aware.
And that's the trade-off you take by putting Malok into the top lane with Zenial. It does increase the time it takes for him to hit level 4.
Oh, Huaolin getting jumped on in the jungle. There's Zenial coming through. So that's not going to be available potentially for the next Abyssal Dragon, but they're just going to try and disengage. Ting will be pretty safe. Very tanky
doesn't need to be available for the Abyssal Dragon. They've got a 3v1 down there because they've forced so much attention to the top side of the map.
Does have the punish available. Is going to try and go for it, but Scott's just going to knock him back. Zhanyo will be able to pick it up, and Malok will spot out the aggression there. And they're just going to fade away. Yep, a free Abyssal Dragon going over for ST.
And Howlin getting that camp despite 3 members of MONORI Bacon around it.
A little bit of burst damage never hurt anyone more than that minion, apparently. Ting trying to jump in onto Shuri. That's a lot of damage. That's almost over 100 there. Jump down, but Airy relatively squishy in the early game. Lover's just going to stop Moss's base. He's like, cool.
He's going to go back in again. You should go and check it again, like just to disrupt him.
I don't think he knew, because the other player walked out of the brush. I think he thought it was just the one, so maybe he is unaware.
Very true. Zhanyo keeping the pressure up on the moment, 1.8k. Only backed by Zill.
Could get jumped on here, but he's just going to be able to just jump away over the wall. No harm, no foul. Level 7 already in that mid lane. That's the second time so far we've seen him just completely scale in this mid lane. We'll get stunned up by the Slim Spear and a little bit of poke damage. Rotating up towards the Spirit Sentinel, but still ST have the lead.
And we don't know that 007 and Moss are here. MONORI Bacon can't find the pick, and now they got Chowgnar and the rest of the team coming in for reinforcements.
They're going to try and go for the fight here, no doubt. Lover will get jumped on towards Airy with the stun at range. The golem does get reset, and they're going to try and steal it away, but that's given time for Scott and Hualin to roll on in. Sorry, Zhanyo to roll on in on that Violet. The stun, will it be enough? They are going to root him up, and no kills going over just yet. Chowgnar taken very low, as was Sherry.
They've left Lubu in this bottom lane though, so now he's going to be able to get this tower for free, and there's no objective on the map that can be taken on the side of ST.
They are rotating down. Scud and Violet trying to push on in, and it isn't going to be the turret going down just yet. Still, it's very low, so if they leave him alone again, he will be able to take it, but it stands for now.
I swear Remix is psychic, because he had no vision of where those players
well, you know there's a fight over on the top lane, and you know they've been missing for a
I know they're missing time, but I'm saying it's an incredibly smart thing that he's been able to do to calculate that time and work it out, because he was able to get away before they just touched the bottom lane bush on their side, which gives him enough of a window to make sure he can get away, but he did that without having vision of where they were or their travel time.
Well, there's a reason MONORI Bacon is #1 seed in Thailand. They have got the skills to pay the bills. Or do they?
Excellent
they
time.
Need to match
excellent
up
time.
Oh yeah, excellent watchmakers. Well, they may or may not be, I don't know, but their timekeeping is excellent.
I don't know their lives.
Oh, a jump on in the mid lane. Not going to go on towards anyone, but Scott is going to weigh in straight away. 007 is just going to get burst out, burnt away, and Memarks will be on the run as well. Chowgnar trying to find anything. Hualin will be able to jump on with the knockup from Scott as well. It's just going to be curtains for him.
So they need to transition around Abyssal Dragon, but Ting's keeping things busy in the top lane with Lover. And they're proxying the wave.
They are proxying the wave, but there's a scuffle going on in the mid lane as well. Moss forced back underneath the turret. Zhanyo will just be able to burst down if he so chooses. They are actually going to focus the turret with that Lover coming in from the backside as Ting jumps on in as well. Hualin trying to continue on, but is it going to be too deep? The Slim Spear misses, and that's going to allow him to get away. The ultimate gets dropped, and 007 once more, as soon as he's back on the field, just gets burnt down. But Cherie's on the back line, wreaking havoc. Only one player. So little damage going over onto Hualin would mean he gets the kill. Cherie is able to capitalize, but Scott is there, and the rest of the team will collapse on in. 3 kills going over to MONORI Bacon, with 007 actually going down twice in that extended engage.
So pick after pick coming out from ST. It never seemed like MONORI Bacon were on a unified front until at the very end, and that's when they were able to turn around the fight. You saw that Hualin was very close to actually turning around the kill onto Cherie. Still had 2 low HP, couldn't get that final ability off to prop his passive, but he did do enough work for Scott to be able to pick up the kill on the back end of it. He ultimately had to end the fight after that, but he was able to get that final bit of damage off to secure another kill for his team, despite knowing that he was going to go down himself. It's the only kill that MONORI Bacon have got so far is onto Howlin.
The Abyssal Dragon is up, and it's Scott who's sort of posturing around it. They do have Zhanyo in that bot lane, but Lover in the top lane will just get jumped on and burst down straight away. The spear will stun him up. The lockdown from the area as well will just prevent him from doing anything else. They're going to prioritize that top lane. Meanwhile, ST do push on towards the Abyssal Dragon. They have the wave to go for this bot turret as well. The top lane is surviving still with Ting as he comes through, but finally does go down, and that is going to allow them to take the turret as well. But 2 turrets and an Abyssal Dragon for 1 turret, and maybe a kill. It's not really worth it. Well, make that 2 kills onto Lover as well.
They've also lost both their primary tanks in this engagement as well, and I think MONORI Bacon are maybe biting off a little bit more than Julia. Shireen needs to get out of there really quickly, but Scott, he's got vision. He knows the Dark Slayer's been done. He's calling up the remaining members of Samsung TTP.
Oh, they're going to get it, and 007 will be the one to take down the Dark Slayer, but Shanyo's over the wall, completely safe from harm for now. Will he be able to pump out enough damage? Remix take it solo. Ting jumps in as well, as does Malok, and they're going to try and get these kills off the back of the fight. Chaugnar over the wall. Shanyo is just so isolated from any of this threat from the opposing team. MONORI Bacon, all low health bars, have to pop the heal to try and get away. Shanyo now needs to deal the damage. It's his time to shine. Finds one, but gets burst down. Malok falls as well. Just Ting left standing. There's 2 players for MONORI Bacon remaining, and that Dark Slayer buff will stay on them.
That was a tale of 2 Ikari, or Icarus, plural. We'll go with Ikari as the words of it. MONORI Bacon, they went so aggressive onto that Dark Slayer. It was a very ambitious play that had turned around very quickly by ST, because they were able to get into that pit and contest them because they were low from tanking the Dark Slayer. Then let's have a look at the second fallacy. It was ST who had them on the back burner and go, we can do this, we can ace them, and we can really punch a hole in this base, but they just couldn't. So they too flew too close to the sun, and over-ambitious plays cost both of these teams dearly.
I believe the plural of Icarus is actually going to be Icarods, or Icarodes.
Would it?
From the Latin root, I think so.
Okay.
Technically, the plural of octopus is octopods. So there you go.
But it's all referred to as octopi.
Yeah, you can say that. I mean, it's fine to say. But if you're going off the Latin derivation, then it's Icarodis or
John Allen does Latin.
Apparently he does. There you go. Pressure in the mid lane coming out from MONORI Bacon. I'm going to try and use that Dark Slayer. Obviously, it's not going to be left on them anymore. So no Dark Slayer buff available. Those kills doing the work they needed to do.
Just keeping the fight centered around the mid lane. You noticed that 1v1 was coming out from MONORI Bacon, but they're now rotating around to the top side. They've identified that as a potential weak spot. Ting so close to jumping on Violet in that middle lane, so she's going to have to be very careful of what she does. There, straight onto Janyo.
Will tumble out of harm's way. There's Ting jumping on just to secure her safety. Cherie, though, now it's her time to take the damage, but the top lane will go down. Hua Lin getting jumped on as well, has to jump on out of there. Ting rotates up, but it's too late. The turret falls. 007 will take that one down. Despite
Cherie not having much impact onto Violet, he did force out that crucial Zenial ultimate. So it means that he wasn't able to traverse distances. Maybe if he had that available and he could have walked down, he may have been able to ult to an ally on that inner tower and keep it alive. So removing that global ultimate, baiting that out early on into the engagements is crucial.
The zoning ultimate from Malok did come through there, just backing them off, clearing that wave. But they are just going to fall off and go for the Abyssal Dragon. ST are in the Sage buff side of their own jungle, and sort of figuring out what their next move is going to be pretty tricky. You don't have that sort of maneuverability you did a couple of minutes ago.
And a lot of the members of ST have to be remained in this mid lane at the moment because they feel that's where the target is going to be. Violet's sat solo at the bottom. She cannot overextend because Ting's just waiting for the opportunity to pounce and have his way with the Violet player Janyo in that bottom lane.
Still, this looks like it's going to be another relatively long game. I mean, they're pretty even. I mean, 4K difference between the two teams. 8-7 on the kill score, and we're at 11 minutes now. Very, very even so far. It's going to be a case of who can have the better late game at this stage. Lover just going to be the front line as they hold onto the mid. 007 takes half his health bar straight away. Ting's going to try and jump on. Sorry. Yeah, they are just going to get out of that one straight away. Just going to back off. We'll try and regen his HP from those jungle camps, and it will not take him too long at all. So
Zenial still has his ultimate available. He has to de-push top at the moment, but MONORI Bacon, they're looking to force something in mid because Ting is keeping Zil in the bottom lane. Maybe an engagement in the form of a spear landing onto Janyo, threading the thread through the needle, and hopefully landing that onto Janyo and starting things off, because you know the second they land that, that's when they're going to pull the trigger on this fight.
They're just waiting in that brush there. They're waiting for them to face check it, but Lover has their number. He's just continuously checking it, and Chaugnar and Thane, you can sit in there all you want, but we know you're there.
Well, now they've gone to a 2-1-2 composition. What we know Samsung love to do, but it's actually MONORI Bacon doing it, and they've spotted an isolated Chaugnar, so they went a little bit aggressive and forced him out of the lane, but the pressure is being kept on in the top and bot lanes, and 007 should be able to whittle down this tower very quickly. He's taking a half health with a couple of auto attacks.
Rotates coming in, and MONORI Bacon fall back. But as you say, the damage is already done. Abyssal Dragon's back up. MONORI BACON can look to prioritize around that and really posture out. Darkslayer's not going to be spawning for over a minute, so they don't really need to be looking at that just yet. And Cherie can just solo this one out. They can keep their presence around. Thane just making sure that it goes all according to plan. And just going to back it off. Darkslayer up in a minute.
50 seconds on that Darkslayer, and I think that's going to be very crucial to decide how the rest of this game is going to go. As long as we don't see that over-ambitious decision-making from those ST and MONORI BACON come into play.
Starting to move over towards the Darkslayer side. This is the sort of dance that we saw with Game TV versus Team CL as well, so maybe we'll see a repeat. The third game always tends to go a little bit longer because, of course, there's so much on the line. There's no buffer for mistakes. You lose this and you're going home.
Still trying to throw out those spears, try and work it out. You've got Lubu in the top lane at the moment, trying to generate some pressure against the weakest point in the ST's defense at the moment, which is, of course, that top high ground tower. Now, Cherie is onto Ting, lands the stun and will go aggressive. Ting may have to ult defensively here if he has a chance of getting away, because Cherie will not stop the tempo.
He's stanky enough just to be able to run away underneath that turret, maintains that ultimate, will be able to base and come back into the fight should he be needed. So, not too bad, but the Darkslayer will be started up by MONORI BACON. Remix popping that ultimate to try and just sustain through that fight. Is he going to try and solo it? I imagine he can. It's already down to half health. They have no idea that this is going on. Cherie and Hualin are having a duel in the bot side as well. Hualin will come out on top of that.
It's too late to the fight.
It's too late. Remix able to pick up the Darkslayer for his team. Scott is already in the fray, but where's Zhanyou? She's all the way down the bottom of the map, and it's Scott.
Oh my god, the damage from 007.
That is absolutely insane. The Slims starting to shred those tanks as he is wont to do. And ST already have a disadvantage. They did manage to get the pick onto Cherie with Hualin, but they lose the Darkslayer, and that is a massive deficit.
ST did a good job there of de-pushing the mid-wave and getting the pressure going against MONORI BACON. It buys them a little bit more time to try and set some defense up after losing Scott. And hopefully they can if they want to stay in this game, because you know where MONORI BACON are going. They want to finish off that top high ground tower and push it in and break open this base, but they're going to make them dance around the top mid. Zhanyou spear lands. This is the initiation. Oh!
So close, able to just get out of that one.
But you saw how eager they were for it once that spear landed.
They saw it. They called it. I think they didn't expect it to happen either, and it just went straight on through. But the mid turret will fall as a consolation prize for that missed pick. Not too sure they were ready to react on it because they didn't expect it to land.
They were too far away to capitalize on it.
Yeah, now they're doing the scary bear. Sat in the brushes, waiting for the rotates to come through. Getting the double threat as well, Lubu over in the top lane, and they're just going to be able to push this one down. You can see 007 just almost, just able to take this turret down and on a whim as he pushes in with the rest of his team. MONORI BACON still having that Darkslayer buff, have capitalized beautifully. 2 turrets have gone down already.
So Remix is going to go pick up that Sentinel, get that health regen. It's surely going to help him out in the fight. Meanwhile, the rest of the team gets another Abyssal Dragon. And, well, ST, they can't react to it because they don't know where MONORI BACON is. And if they're in a 5-man unit hiding in one of the bushes in their jungle and they leave the base, that's their high ground tower done. And if they go far enough, it's also the core at this stage of the game. They've lost that Darkslayer buff now, so they lose that extra 30%, they lose that extra regen, but they are still in the lead by a significant margin at this point in the game.
If Slims is able to get a catch and shred down either Scott or Love, or even Ting, then that could be the start of the end for ST. But it's all on Zhanyou's positioning. If they're able to provide that front line and get into the fight in the right way.
I think part of it is also on Hualin being able to dive the right target. If Hualin can get on Slims and decimate him, that's going to make it so much easier for the tanks to withstand the assault onto Violet.
This defense, relatively easy. The rotate times between those turrets, obviously, really very, very short for ST. They're going to be looking to take the engage near the mid lane. MONORI BACON keep that pressure up, but ST just clearing those waves nicely and tanking up those minion waves will be able to hold for now, but for how long will it last?
We have to see, but look at the health bar on Ting now. He's really got to that late game tank situation. So is Moss, to be fair. Health bars are stacked, damage is stacked, everything is ready to go. I'm not sure how that landed on the Hualin.
That's crazy. That's why Slims are so strong. You can get those engages from so far away. Hualin dodges that one.
He needs to dodge all of them from now on, because if he gets caught like that and they lose one of their primary damage dealers in such a tanky composition, it puts too much pressure on Janyo to be able to do everything that needs to be done in this game.
Pushing on through. They're just maintaining this pressure. But ST are holding up relatively strong. Like they don't need to do anything. They're just farming up. They're waiting for that late game because they know they're behind by 10k, which is a significant difference here. But they just farm up the waves, and as soon as you hit 6 items, money doesn't matter.
So ST and MONORI BACON are both relying on two things. There's ST primarily are stalling this out so that they can either, like you said, force it to late game, try and catch up and turtle a little bit. But alternatively, they're looking for a mistake from MONORI BACON, and they're looking for the Dark Slayer fight. Now, MONORI BACON, they're not looking to turtle. They're in a pretty good spot right now. They're just looking for a mistake from ST or that Dark Slayer fight. I think both teams are going to be contesting that if that comes up, assuming they have knowledge it's being done. And I think MONORI BACON are going to prey on this. They're lingering in that topside jungle. And I think as soon as you get to the point where the Dark Slayer is going to come off cooldown, you'll see a lot of attention in that topside, ready for a catch, ready for a team fight, ready to contest for that Dark Slayer buff, or potentially do a bait and switch and rush down the base in a backdoor scenario.
That's the thing. Remix was able to solo it last time it came up. So, I mean, and it's only later in the game, which means he's only going to be able to do it quicker. So if MONORI BACON take the position in that side of the jungle and are able to get that one right, they can just solo it again. But the pressure on the mid lane is where they're at now, and the engage over in the top side will mean that Malok has to ult back defensively. Ting ults in as well. So that's two major engage tools removed from them for now. See if they can turtle up long enough to just recoup those, see if they can get back into it.
Now, still waiting the game up. The timer is on this game. 45 seconds on the Dark Slayer, and that will surely bode a situation where one of these teams will have to concede something, be it towers, be it the Dark Slayer, be it this game.
Well, I think either the turrets or the Dark Slayer would probably mean the game at this stage. So we'll see what MONORI BACON are able to do. Obviously, with those high ground turrets still standing, there are no super minions pushing in, which means that they have sort of an even pressure. If they're able to get those waves to spread out, then they could potentially be in the money. But 007, really this sort of menace that is looming in the back lines for MONORI BACON.
So here we go. You can already see Remix going for that Dark Slayer. He's going to try and solo it while MONORI BACON holds the line aggressively. Now that it's respawned, they don't have any vision of what's going on. This is where ST need to start putting pressure into the jungle. They could fall into the MONORI BACON trap though, or just be deterred. Look at Lover go down. Oh,
they're going to try and charge in as well. They need to fight or die here. This is their chance. Ting in the bot lane as well, seeing off Airy, but the Lubu just absolutely shredding through the Dark Slayer will just be able to solo that one out, and again MONORI BACON will have the advantage. There's no way that they can stop it. There's no way they can get through that MONORI BACON line. The fact that Lubu can solo that is such a massive advantage for them.
And now ST needs to go back to their base and start totaling and hope they can use the turret as a sixth man to win them the fight under the turret. But when they're posturing around it with the risk of an initiation, all it takes is one Slim Spear to end the entire fight and end the game. It's so... This game is on a knife edge at the moment for ST.
It's game 3 syndrome. Every time you go to game 3, especially with so much on the line here, these teams do not want to be going home just yet. ST need to be strong. They need to stand tall and try and hold these pushes.
They're centering around the mid lane. Obviously, that's going to be the pivot point. Just waiting to see where MB are going to stack. And they've got 2 in the bottom lane against the Zenio at the moment. Not really known for his wave clearance, but the turret will make sure it goes down. So they're going to have to send some assistance down there.
In, and there's the pickup onto Airy. She's able to dash away with that mobility that is so strong. And they're going to try and split the aggression as well. Jumping in on the bot lane. Lover might finally fall.
Zenial's heal!
Back, and the Zenial is able to heal it. And ST come in. They're starting to turn the fight. Cherie on the back line being jumped up by Hualin. Slim's about to go down as well. Scott is going to pick that up. Ting actually finishes the kill out. And there's ST running in with a roaring rebuttal coming through, and that is going to be Janyo trying to find it onto Moss as well, but the mana isn't there. But however, they got 3 kills. They're dissuading the push, and Remix goes down as well. Just Moss left standing. The death timers could mean that they're able to go for the push. The mid wave will be going on out, and ST are looking to find what they can, but look at the bot lane.
Yeah, Cherie and Moss, they're ticking around in the bot lane at the moment. You had Fein recall. Cherie just wanted to get that extra little bit of push in case they all hard committed to be pushing these waves. So mid-inner, that should go down. Thane isn't going to be able to solo hold that, especially considering Violet, one of the best tower pushes in the game, is coming up the rear. And so Shuri and Moss to do a 2v5 resistance. Marks is about to come up, so is 007, so they're going to get their reinforcements, but if they lose too many, it could be the game.
Moss is going to go down. Will Shuri follow? That's the question. You have to get out of there. Two-man hold is hard enough. Slims is going to join the fray as well. Shuri
They're going for it.
While Lin's dueling it out. Will he be able to win it? But they're going onto the core. Shanyo will take it. And ST with a massive comeback, able to bring it home. And Taiwan take down Thailand. MONORI Bacon, you're going home.
The best off-lane player in the world has been eliminated from the AIC.
That's a pity, isn't it? Oh dear.
Big shame that. Samsung TTP progressing through to the semi-final. We still need to find out who is going to be their opponent. And I am so excited for this game. I've been excited since day one to see SMG perform in this tournament. And they're going to be going up against Alpha Red, the second-seeded team from Thailand.